Hey Justin, what kind of decoys do I get? That can be a loaded question in the duck hunting world. You have everybody from the cheapest ones you can find, milk jugs, milk jugs sprayed black, to people that feel they need to buy decoys that are $600 for 3 of them. Decoys have come a long way. Yes, these were once used as decoys. These are paper mache decoys with little glass eyes for a little bit of reflection, make them look a little bit more realistic. The artists that made them, typically they put their fingerprints on the bottom of it and smush them in so you know what kind of decoy was made and who it was made by. And then you get into some of the older or the newer ones where they're made a little bit more like this guy here. Featherlight decoys, basically made to float on the water, no keel, nothing to be said. But then you get into the modern day stuff. Modern day decoys with the keel on the bottom. Some of them are front weighted, some of them are foam filled in case you decoy your birds and you shoot through your decoys and maybe hit a couple. They won't sink. But those are all things that you can take into account when it comes to decoys. However, setting them and understanding placement of decoys, in my opinion, of course, is the most important part of having the decoy spread out there. Not necessarily how much physical money you spent on getting all those decoys. You see, if you know how to set up for the area that you're in, now we talked about wind direction before, and we talked about where the sun is and where your hide is. If you're watching and observing and scouting, which we will be talking about immensely going forward, if you're understanding the animal and watching where they want to be and how they react with one another, setting your decoys up in a manner that makes them look realistic is a huge part of it. Having your decoys match the hatch of what you're seeing out there. Well, Justin, that doesn't make any sense, Justin. What does match the hatch mean? Okay. I live in Wisconsin. When our duck hunting season opens, we have an early teal season, and we get a lot of teal and wood ducks here. We get a lot of mallards here, and as the migration pushes through, we get a lot of different birds, from pintails to shovelers to ringers, ringnecks to be exact. We get a lot of that stuff. But when our season opens, everything looks the same. What do I mean by that? Well, mallards don't have the green head like the gentleman behind me. They don't have that. They haven't figured out how to fully molt yet from being born the year that we're hunting them. Or they're going from their spring plumage into their fall plumage, and they're just not into that time frame of where they look like they would be in the early spring when they're trying to breed. Because after all, ducks look like that one, or other wood ducks have all the color on their heads and everything else in the breeding season, which is in the spring. They molt in the summer as they go into nesting, and they just get kind of like this. Very olive drabby colors because they're hiding from predators. They're hiding from skunks. They're hiding from raccoons and possums that are going to potentially eat the eggs that they're laying to grow the future generations of little ducklings for you to be able to go harvest and eat in the fall. So when I say match the hatch, what I mean by that is very simple. I don't throw a lot of color, mallards with green heads, that is, or full colored wood ducks out in the beginning of the season. Why? Nothing looks like that. Nothing looks like all the decoy companies put out there with the green heads or the fully plumed out wood ducks in my area when I hunt. That's later in the season. Now the southern boys, they get into all the fully colored out ducks. They're still shooting them now. We're in the beginning of January, and January, the ducks are fully plumed out. Your pintails have the full sprigs. Wood ducks look gorgeous and all alike. But around here, and if you hunt in areas that they're just not like that, use more hens than you do drakes. Use gadwalls as filler decoys. Use decoys that make sense to what a duck is going to look like in the area that you're hunting as you're hunting. Now, if you're a southern boy listening to this podcast and your season doesn't open until December, throw out as much color as you want, because you'll have a lot of color where you hunt in your spreads, and you got to match your hatch where you are. So always take that into account when you're looking at decoys and understanding that part fully so your spread doesn't look nothing like the ducks that are around you. And you'll do a lot better.